Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Please subscribe now for the latest ancient history news and independent research from around the world. Just when I thought an old internet theory had been put to bed, it seems to have resurfaced in the mainstream media. Yes, once again we can see the story about a mountain in Antarctica that looks a bit like a pyramid. This weekend we've had new clickbait stories in the Daily Mail, the Mirror, the Times of India, Daily Express, Joe.co.uk, the Indy 100, the Economic Times, Unilad, and the list goes on. I covered this phenomenon in a video 3 years ago, and even with 112,000 views, well, it's not enough, and it also can't really compete with the Ancient Aliens video on this subject, which has 2.1 million views. As we know, man-made pyramids are found all over the world. We know that. In Egypt, South America, Central America, Cambodia, China, Indonesia, and so on. But to claim there is a pyramid in Antarctica is really a huge claim, and it would need some truly incredible hard evidence to back it up. This is the picture being used. The Daily Mail writes that this one has a square base, even though we can't see the base, and it even says the design is similar to the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Yep, identical. The media outlets are promoting the social media chatter around the idea. They're not pushing the possibility that this could be an actual pyramid. But either way, it must have been a slow news weekend. Antarctica has been a harsh environment for millions of years, and so it's no surprise there is no evidence for any kind of intelligent ancient civilization either on or beneath the ice. In a study in Scientific Reports in 2015, researchers from the University of Pennsylvania showed how studying meteoric beryllium-10 from the Antarctic central dry valleys showed that lake sediments were emplaced between 14 and 17.5 million years ago, and they have been untouched by meteoric waters since that time. In a nutshell, Antarctica has been an arid wasteland for the past 15 million years. Fossil finds back this up. Yes, the ice advances and retreats. Antarctica has not always looked like this, and sometimes there is more and sometimes there is less. For example, Pliocene ice around 3 million years ago was probably relatively thin and did not inundate the topography. But since 3 million years ago, we have quite a good understanding of the climate history of Antarctica. This is thanks to ice core data, which has clear datable horizons. In 2004, scientists drilled a continuous ice core reaching back to 800,000 years ago. In 2017, a core brought up Antarctic ice dating back to 2.7 million years ago. Ice core data, together with seismic profiling, indicates an ice sheet dominated environment through the Pliocene and into the Pleistocene. There are cycles in ice advancement and retreat, but in the entirety of human history, this has never been a place that could sustain a flourishing civilization, one powerful enough to build pyramids 10 times as high as the Great Pyramid. Most people that speculate about this mountain being a possible man or alien-made pyramid fail to research the history of Antarctica, the science behind the frozen continent. I would suggest the first job for anyone who believes that this could be a pyramid is to work to counter all of the scientific work on the climatic history of Antarctica. Refute how scientists date ice cores with a solid argument. Refute the isotope analysis, and how horizons in the ice have been interpreted. If believers can debunk the science, or at least bring it into question, which is extremely unlikely, well, what other evidence do they have for a civilization in Antarctica? Some would say the Piri-Reis map shows the ice-free Antarctic coastline, but this has been debunked time and time again. What people call Antarctica on this map is just South America bent around. I've linked some videos to explain this better in the description below. Some people will point to the Philippe Bouche map and also the Orontes Phineas map, but again, these two have been debunked quite extensively. I've also made videos on these in the past, and I've left some links below. In truth, the only evidence for a civilization in Antarctica are these pictures of mountains. Mountains that look a little bit like pyramids. That's it. Pictures. And these pictures are not exactly compelling evidence either, as one of the edges of the so-called pyramid is wavy, and you can even see the edges continue into the larger mountain range. Occam's razor is the idea that the simplest explanation is usually the correct one, and that's important in this study. What we have is a natural mountain that looks a bit like a pyramid, and the steep sides and pointy edges are simply the work of hundreds of millions of years of erosion. Pyramid shapes are not impossible in nature. In fact, many peaks partially look like pyramids, including ones found in the Alps, and this one in Bosnia. Okay, I know that's another can of worms, but it's now finally pretty much universally agreed that this too is a natural geological structure. For example, the so-called man-made concrete that makes up the Bosnian pyramid is simply just natural conglomerate rock. There is some evidence of human activity on top and also in the caves that run through it, but it's nowhere near as ancient as the claims that have been made. I've got a video on this subject and I've linked it below. Back to Antarctica, and the mountain range in question is actually quite well understood. It's in an area of the Ellsworth Mountains called Heritage Range, and this is known for its amazing fossils, including 500 million year old trilobites. The specific mountain is 4,150 feet, or 1,265 metres tall, and the pyramid shape is likely formed by an erosional process known as freeze-thaw, when, during the day, snow or water fills up cracks and fissures in the rock, and then it freezes overnight. The freezing causes ice to form, and this widens the cracks. Over time, the repeated freeze-thaw action makes larger and larger cracks until entire rock sections come away. These forces likely shaped this mountain millions of years ago, and others too in the Alps, including the famous Matterhorn. The rock type of the mountain is likely uniform throughout, allowing erosion to occur at a similar rate on all sides. That would give it this somewhat uniform shape. We also have to remember we're looking at the tops of mountains poking out of the ice. The actual mountain range continues on for some distance below. Zooming out and you can see this edge of the pyramid actually carries on to the northwest, and this one carries on to the northeast. If the ice was to melt, I'm sure we'd see a very different picture. The white stuff is not like the bedrock of the Giza Plateau. People did not build a pyramid nearly 10 times as high as the Great Pyramid on ice. The Pyramid Mountain is clearly part of a much larger mountain range, and yes, it is an amazing feat, but one of nature, and not of humans, aliens, or some other intelligent life. I've just revived my old channel called Space and Planet, where I'll be making regular content looking at Earth and space science news and research. If you're interested in any of these subjects, please do subscribe to the channel, as I've got some fantastic ideas for new content in the coming months. I've left a link in the comments, and it's also in the description below. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.